We start by seeing a young woman running in a dense forest on an island. She is fleeing from armed men and is terrified. For a moment, she hides among the foliage and clutches a knife, but the group of soldiers finds her and knocks her out. The woman, whom we will call Jenna, is captured by the military group and is being taken to a prison facility, as she is the only survivor of the island and the main suspect in the homicides that occurred there. Upon arriving at the police department, journalists confront her and accuse her of being a murderer, which leaves her frightened and speechless. Detective Armory starts an interview with the young woman, and when he asks her name, Jenna cannot remember it and does not know anything about being on the island. When interrogating her about the accusations against her and the fact that she killed some young people, Jenna shows fear at the shouting. Psychologist Florence enters the interrogation room, and the detective calls her outside. He is unhappy with the interruption, as he is investigating a crime, and the young detainee is the main suspect. The psychologist is there to ensure the woman's rights, knowing that she has shown memory loss and delusions, so she has been sent to be a judicial support for Jenna. With a custody order, the psychologist will have guardianship of Jenna and takes her away. Minutes later, we see Jenna in a hospital bed receiving medical care when she begins to have memories and flashbacks of when she was on the island. She hears voices of some young people saying they did not kill anyone but accuse Jenna of what happened to one of those with them. Jenna starts thrashing in bed, and the police and the psychologist need to calm her down. After the young woman calms down, the doctor, whose name is Charlie, stays by her side to ensure that the patient does not worsen. Jenna then starts to have memories from a few days ago. Later, when she is recovered, she participates in a new interrogation and recounts what she knows. We then see Jenna's memories. She and a group of young people were going to the island to attend a party and met their friends at the dock to head to their destination. She was with Ashley and her boyfriend Kyle. Also with them was Keith, the boat driver, Tyler, Kyle's brother, and Mark, who almost misses the trip, but is the one who attracts Jenna's gaze, as they were ex-boyfriends, but their relationship has been declining month after month for 3 months. The group chats as they sail towards the island and toasts, celebrating their friendship over the years. However, while admiring the beautiful friends, Mark whistles at Ashley, which makes Jenna uncomfortable and prompts her to approach Keith to talk and enjoy the scenery. Ashley brought her puppy, which Tyler initially doesn't like but sets aside when he realizes they are almost arriving at the island. Tyler then gives a speech to his friends, saying they will spend the weekend there, celebrating but without internet, phones, or any means of communication with the outside world. When they reach their destination, it becomes clear that it has always been a place where they can be free, and that for years, they have gone to the island to have fun. The friends head up to the island house, which is surrounded by woods, and there they even have a warm bath for a soak in the cold. The friends talk about Mark coming with them, which Jenna thinks was a bad idea, but Ashley insists that the guy still likes Jenna and is trying to win her back. As they approach the house, Jenna notices that the curtains of one of the windows inside the house moved, which seems to have been just the wind. As they were about to climb the steps of the house, they notice a toy that spins in circles and believe it was Tyler trying to scare them. However, he approaches the toy knowing that it wasn't him and observes that it says, "Represaria." The scene cuts to the interrogation, where Jenna, the sole survivor, says she is slowly remembering what happened, and when the toy is shown, she takes a deep breath, remembering her deceased friends. Detective Armory then continues his questioning and asks who killed the young people, as they were the only ones who went to that island since witnesses only saw them heading to the location. Jenna, recalling what she witnessed, claims they were not alone on the island. The scene shifts back to the past when the group of friends encounters Megan, a young woman who secretly boarded the boat, and without wanting to return to drop her off at the dock, they include the young woman in their group. Tyler wants to flirt with the young woman, but knowing that she could become an unprotected companion for the guy, the girls welcome her and stick with her. Later at night, the group drinks a little in the living room, but Jenna goes to the docks, and Mark is informed that his friend wants to leave. He decides to go to talk to his friend. Back in the present, Armory questions Jenna how her friends could have been killed so brutally and she not know anything. Then Dr. Charlie interrupts him and says that the interrogation is over and the young woman needs to sleep. She takes her to bed and gives her a sleeping pill so she can rest better. After that, the doctor leaves and talks with Armory, who believes Jenna knows more than she lets on and insists that he will find out. Flashback to the group's first night on the island. We see Ashley and Kyle heading to the hot tub where they share a romantic moment. Meanwhile, Tyler and Megan have a few drinks and get a little tipsy. The guy wants something more from the girl. He lets Ashley's dog out and locks the door. Shortly after, the two go to the room and lie on the bed. When the girl states that she has never done anything the guy has done, and that she is still too young for that, Tyler pulls back and ends the night with her. In the forest, Ashley's puppy is sniffing something when someone comes and picks it up in their hands. At the docks, we see Jenna, who is an incredible dancer, practicing her steps. Soon Mark arrives to talk and try to rekindle their relationship, at least for that weekend. After that, she can forget him and head to New York, where she will pursue her career as a dancer. In the present, Jenna is awakened by Armory, who believes the young woman is deceiving the doctor, but he is not mistaken. In the morning, the interrogation continues, and Jenna recounts the first night. She says that after Tyler rejected young Megan, he went downstairs and witnessed Ashley cursing. The scene shows that when Kyle went to get ice from the bucket to give to his girlfriend, he discovers that she is smeared with blood, which leaves everyone confused and frightened. Tyler arrives to find out what happened and discovers that someone had thrown blood in the bucket, but he knows nothing about it and doesn't care about the kids, believing they were just playing with him. Ashley notices that the young man left the door open and her dog has gone out into the forest, which worries her. Tyler decides to enter the forest and search for her dog. Before that, he informs Jenna and Mark about the missing puppy and continues the search with his friend Mark. They go to Keith's cabin and ask if the guy has the puppy, but he doesn't know what they're talking about. After the guys leave, Keith sneaks the puppy and feeds it milk. But as he goes to the stove, he observes in the reflection of the kettle that someone entered the cabin. The scene shifts back to Tyler and Mark, who return home and find their friends talking about the possibility that there is someone else on the island. Some think it is Keith who is playing tricks on them, while the girls think there is really someone there with them. When Kyle grabs his knife to state that he is ready to defend his territory, he discovers that the knife is dirty with blood. Raising suspicions in him, however, he was with his girlfriend, so it can't be him. Tyler says that the island is surrounded by cliffs and the only entrance is through the docks, and they would have seen someone if they had docked there. So he asserts that it's Keith who is frightening the group, and knowing that, he decides to go to bed to sleep. In the present, while the investigators talk, Charlie tells Armory that she discovered his tragic past. His son went to a party and the kids' games went too far, resulting in a drowning death. That's why, dealing with young people, he acts so harshly to uncover what happened. Suddenly, Jenna screams and claims she knows who the killer is. She says the name, Keith. Back in the past, the next day, while some are preparing to have breakfast, Ashley goes out to search for her puppy. She enters the forest in hopes of finding the dog. She calls for her animal, but a little further in, she looks up and screams upon seeing something that traumatizes her. In the house, Mark sees nails inside the gelatin when they hear their friend's screams. They find her on the path and decide to go where she came from. Upon arriving, part of the group finds Keith hanging upside down, with the name Maligno painted on the shirt that is dripping blood. The scene leaves the young people stunned. Following that, Mark says he will call the police using the boat's radio. When they reach the spot, they discover that the boat is no longer docked there. Fearing that they are not alone on the island, they return and inform the others. Tyler is furious and decides to go to the docks. When the friends step outside the house, they hear the toy making noise and think it is Tyler. Mark approaches the vegetation and also hears a female laugh. After the noise stops, the guys decide to take down Keith. At that moment, Ashley arrives wanting to find her puppy, but Jenna and Megan go look for the animal in the forest. Heading to Keith's body, Kyle mentions that Keith was their half-brother, something that their parents did not want them to find out, but they became aware of it sometime after Keith moved in with the family. Tyler, at first, did not want him, which is why he always looked down on him. As they arrive at the location, they no longer see the man's body. Fearing that the intruder and enemy are still on the island, they return to the house. In the present, as Armory confronts Jenna, claiming that the accusations she made of Keith being the criminal are not true. However, he was found dead, and the photos exonerate him from the crimes. Continuing back in the past, the following morning, Ashley was asleep in the house when she hears barks from her dog. When she goes to see if the puppy is nearby, she finds its collar near the hot tub. Thinking her animal fell in there, she desperately enters the tub, but someone closes the lid and turns the heater on to maximum. When Mark and Kyle arrive, they find no one in the house, so they decide to go out and look for the others, unfortunately not discovering their friend's dead body inside the hot tub. In the forest, Mark only finds Megan, as she had wandered away from her friend. They walk a bit and reunite with Jenna. Minutes later, when the group of young people returns to the house, they notice that the word "accused" is written above the lid of the hot tub, and as soon as they open the spot, they face the lamentable scene of their dead friend. In the present, Jenna states that she has been friends with Ashley since childhood, and they were always together. She suddenly asks the investigators about her friend, as if she were losing her memory of her friend's loss. However, this leaves the detective intrigued, as the young woman had just claimed that Ashley was killed. Back with the group, they believe that the murderer is on the island, and perhaps it could be one of them. One ends up blaming the other, but Mark, for safety, asks that from then on, they stay together. The young people take their friend's body to the shed and place her in the freezer, wanting to guard and protect Ashley's body. Kyle finds a walkie-talkie that only has a range within the island, so he hands it to Tyler. When they return to the house, they find the toy on the stairs and the name "Innocent" written on the glass of the door. The group hears noises around the residence again, and when Kyle enters the vegetation, he is suddenly caught in a bear trap. His friends rescue him and take him inside to give first aid. Then the guys check the house and secure the entrances and windows. In the present, when the day comes to an end, Charlie gives the medicine to Jenna again so that she can sleep well, but as soon as she leaves, we find out that the young woman is rejecting the medication and spits it out, hiding it in the Holy Bible. Later, she is awakened in the middle of the night by someone sitting on her bed. When she gets up to see who it is, she finds an injured woman. Her screams awaken the agents, and she takes comfort in Amory's arms, saying that she wants to help Regina. We return to the past, on day 2, when they were organizing themselves to rest. Tyler decides to leave his brother in the room upstairs and denies Megan's company with him, knowing she might tempt his brother into doing illicit things. In the kitchen, Jenna grabs a knife to protect herself when she looks outside, and her face shows fear. She, along with Mark and Tyler, go outside and check the area. Jenna had seen someone hiding among the vegetation with their face covered by a gray hood, but soon disappeared. They decide to take turns sleeping at night, but Mark and Jenna cannot sleep. Taking the moment together, they take some time to reconcile. As they were about to kiss, the lights go out. Everyone wakes up nervously, but Megan, worried about Kyle, goes upstairs to look for him. However, she does not find him there, and also does not notice when a human shadow figure passes through the hallway outside the room. The young woman goes down and informs the others that her friend has disappeared. Tyler leaves the house with his air gun, but suddenly, a tree in front catches fire and, startled, falls, dropping the equipment. He enters and is informed about his brother's disappearance, and, when he is about to leave to retrieve the gun, a barrage of nails is shot at the young people, and Tyler is injured in the process. His friends seek shelter when they hear Kyle calling for help outside. However, knowing it could be the enemy, they do nothing. At dawn, the group continues to hear, and soon realizes it is a recording sent to the communicator, and Kyle was asking for help. Tyler wants to help his brother, and upon hearing metal knocking, discovers he is on the deck. When they reach the location, they only find the radio, which angers Tyler at whoever is doing them harm. At this moment, they remember the names written by the invader and see it as some clue. Jenna gathers the words and rearranges them, discovering part of a name. Tyler, hearing this, remembers something and says a name: Regina. They remember she is the girl who disappeared last year. Tyler recounts that he and his brother invited her to their party. However, it was not a genuine invitation, as the young woman was more despised and seen as a joke among the young people. Nevertheless, the young woman was hidden anyway. During the party, she drank a lot and had fun with the boys. Tyler had a moment with her and recorded everything they did. Regina asked that it not be spoken of to the others, but he had already recorded it, and in panic, she ran off into the forest, never to return home. In the present, the investigators talk among themselves and surmise that Regina may still be alive and be the criminal. Minutes later, the interrogation continues. Jenna tells that after discovering about Regina and believing that Megan, being too young and pure, represented the word innocent, They left her alone as she asked, thinking that whoever is doing them harm wouldn't hurt her. When they go to Keith's cabin, they find a mound of sand on the table and a shovel buried in the ground. Jenna confronts Tyler about what he isn't telling. He then reveals that the young woman never left the island and had encounters with them for moments of pleasure, but on a night she chose to go out, she was very drunk. She fell and hit her head on the corner of a table. The young woman's death was inevitable, and he and his brother, frightened and fearing arrest, buried her on the other side of the island. At the police station, Armory is already recognizing Jenna as innocent. On the other hand, Charlie is confused, with some information that doesn't match the narrative put forth by Jenna. Then Armory receives information from the coroner and, based on the time of the deaths, discovers that Keith was not the first to be killed. The scene shows that when Megan returned to the house, she encountered Keith, who, surprisingly, was alive. In the forest, at the spot where Regina's grave was supposed to be, Tyler digs and finds his brother there. Suddenly, the radio receives a call from Megan stating that Keith is alive and is frightening her in the house. The communication is abruptly interrupted, and the young people decide to go back. Tyler, distraught and furious, runs ahead and reaches home. He grabs a knife and searches for the invader. Hearing something inside the cupboard, he opens it, but is suddenly bitten in the chest by a venomous snake. When his friends arrive, they help him lie on the sofa. Unfortunately, the poison acts quickly, paralyzing him and consequently killing him. At this moment, they hear noises upstairs and decide to check together. When they reach Kyle's room and call for Megan, they come across a body wrapped in cloth. When they pull off the sheets, they discover remains of a body, probably Regina's. The radio receives a call and a man speaks. He laments the life of Regina, stating that the young woman only wanted to be like the others. But what happened was this. However, their friend is being well cared for. The duo enters another room when Keith grabs Jenna and threatens her with a knife, while saying that they will all pay for their involvement in Regina's death. Keith always knew about the half-brother's involvement in the crime, but he had kept silent. Even when he watched the parents hopeful on the news for their daughter's return and his younger sister anxious for the reunion. However, it came to a point where he could no longer bear the feeling of rage, so he decided to act. Jenna bites him and breaks free. Soon, Mark starts fighting with Keith, but both fall from the second floor. Mark apparently broke his neck and died, but Keith is still alive and chases the young woman through the forest. The young woman runs believing that Keith will kill her, but ends up trapped in a snare and hangs upside down to the ground. When Keith approaches her to harm her, Megan appears and hits him on the head with a shovel. She frees the young woman, and they move away from the area, heading to the boat, which surprisingly is back at the deck. Inside the boat, Jenna searches for the key, while Megan questions how the families will feel about the loss of the young people, just as a sister feels about the loss of her sister. In the present, on the last day of interrogation, Jenna states that Megan is the murderer. The young woman seduced Keith to help her do what she did, as she came to the island seeking revenge. Jenna states that when she was inside the boat with Megan, she was attacked by the young woman, and the only solution was to defend herself. So she killed Megan with her own blade. With the case nearly concluded, Armory asks Jenna to organize her things so that when her parents arrive, she can leave. Whereas, in light of Charlie's conclusions, the case is still not concluded. But believing that the young woman has gone through much stress and bad things, they release her. When Charlie goes to Jenna's room, the young woman offers her a cup of coffee, which the doctor takes a sip of. However, Charlie confronts the young woman with some information that doesn't match what she said, but at that moment, she sits and knocks over the coffee cup that was dosed with medication. The doctor hears Jenna say that she is a special girl and faints. As soon as Jenna's parents arrive at the police station, they confront the detective about why Jenna's photo is on the wall of the deceased. At this moment, Armory realizes that Megan is actually Jenna, and Jenna is not who she claimed to be. Her real name is Megan. Armory asks if the parents know Megan, and they affirm that she is the sister of the girl who disappeared on the island. Armory realizes that he has been fooled by the young woman the whole time, and everything she told is a lie, and the reality is a completely unknown one. When he goes to her room, he discovers that she has disguised herself in the doctor's clothes and left the building, leaving Charlie unconscious. In the end, the police did not arrest the real criminal, who used her skills to plan the deaths of the young people. execute her plans, and escape prison for her crimes of revenge.